parents, I am back here again with this short video. I would like to talk about progression folders. I know there has been a lot of questions, especially because of the misprinted copies from Lulu, but now we should all have the correct copy. So this week, your child received two books in their backpacks. They received our Ecclesiastes Bible study and our correctly printed progression folder for third grade. These are the two books that we handed out on Wednesday. If for any reason you did not see them in the backpack, they're not there, please reach out to me. I made sure everybody had their copy, but I could have overlooked somebody. I apologize. Please send me an email so that we can get you the right materials. Okay, so Ecclesiastes, there's one more week to our study this coming week, which is our week 4 on Ecclesiastes. We will finish it this coming week. I know you're probably asking yourself the question, where is our other Bible study? Well, we're going to have to stay tuned. We don't have information on that just yet. I'm sure admin will be sending out an email with a link or giving us information about that when the time comes. But for now, we're grateful we have our Ecclesiastes complete Bible study. So make sure your child has this on Monday for school and for Wednesday. So this should be in your child's backpack. Progression folders. Yay, we finally have our progression folders and they are all printed correctly. They have all the pages. You will notice that in some of the math section of the progression folder, there are some things that aren't printed the way that they are printed out in your homework folder, the printouts on ClassReach. That's okay. We will work around it. I'm sure you will be able to see the intent of the question that's there. When we get there, you'll know what I'm talking about. But don't worry, it doesn't take away from that activity. So progression folders, we've talked about progression folders before. I know this is not a folder, it's a book, but we'll just call it progression folder. We talked about progression folders at the beginning of the school year. So many things have happened, so many questions have come up, so I thought we would talk about progression folders again, what their intent is, what the purpose, how you should be using them on Satellite Day. So we'll cover that in this video. So progression folders, the intent of progression folders are our priority items. So all of our memory work will be in here, covering from scripture, from your hymn, any songs that we are learning in any other subject areas like geography. I think I did say timeline pegs. What else? All the memory work. I can't think of all of them right now, but everything that we have stated on the lesson plan for your children to memorize, jingles, grammar jingles, they will all be found in here. Now, the progression folder works its way through from Q1 all the way to Q4. So there's going to be the same thing in every quarter, just different memory items. So for quarter 1, which we only have 4 more weeks left, we will concentrate fifth week forward. So if you did any work on your progression folder in the folder, remember I asked to print out the things in ClassReach and for us to use this homework folder as our progression folder. If you've been marking things on this progression folder, that's okay. I've already looked at most of the folders and I've stamped. With this new one, we will start at week 5, okay? Just to keep things simple and lack of confusion. So starting on Monday, please bring this book, progression folder. Please make sure your child brings this book to class. And this is the folder that's going to be going back and forth, back and forth. Now, what should you do with this other folder? Well, the items in here, you can take them out. We won't be using these anymore. You can keep them at home if you'd like, staple them. And we will keep using the folder for homework items. So anything that I return, anything that you need to return back to me, this will be our homework folder exclusively, just homework folder. We will no longer be using it as our progression folder. We will smoothly transition into this new folder for the rest of the year. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us and we will give you more clarity. Okay, so just to repeat, your homework folder now will just be your homework folder. It will no longer be your progression folder with the printed copies. We're going to take out the printed copies out and we will just use it as a homework folder to be bringing things in and to the classroom and back home. Okay, and then this is our progression folder. This is what we're going to be using in class every satellite day, every campus day. So progression folder, I said they are priority items. Progression folders, if you are having a rough day at home, if you are traveling, if you can't get to the lesson plan for a particular day, as long as you get to the progression folder items for that week, you will be caught up. Those are the things, the highlights, if I can call them that, the highlights of the week that you're on. So for example, our scripture, it's broken down into weeks. Oh, wrong way. It's broken down into weeks. So if you are traveling on week 7, you will know what we're doing in week 7. We are memorizing this portion, and that goes for all the other items in this progress folder. Now, you will see that there are little boxes here, and it says parent initial and teacher initial. This is for accountability, and so if you think your child knows these particular sections of the scripture, then just initial and say they know it. We can move on to the next section. And as I see that, I will know that you have been practicing this at home. It's being mastered at home. And of course, in class, we're always practicing. Now, scripture, as you know, we will assess every 2 weeks. There's an assessment for the second section for week 3 and 4 section this coming week. So be on the lookout for that. So that's how the progression folder is broken down. So we have our scripture, same thing with our hymn. It's broken down into sections by week. The section that I also want to bring your attention to is the math section in the progress folder or progression folder. In the progression folder, it is called Q1 or Q2, Q3, Q4, Saxon Mathematics Progress Binder. I don't want you to be confused by the title of that. Grade level math is doing Saxon. Your child may not be in Saxon, and that's okay. Your child may be in other level of math, in Right Start Math or another level of Saxon. This right here in your progression folder is 3rd grade level math. Math that I would like for your child to be exposed to regardless of their level right now. It is not meant for it to be a lesson for that particular week. If your child is not in Saxon, I'd like you to just go over it with them. It'll only take about a minute or 2. Most of the things in here your child will be able to solve. If not, if it's completely new to them, just read over what it says for that particular week and help them go through that. Again, the purpose is for them to be exposed to 3rd grade level math if your child is not in Saxon. So do not be alarmed if you see this and you say, my child is not in Saxon. That's okay. It's just that it's 3rd grade level. And we would like for your child, regardless if they're in higher math or lower math, we want them to be exposed to what 3rd grade level is doing. So again, it is broken down by weeks like everything else in the progression folder. Most of it is vocab. A lot of it is small equations that they have to solve, and most of your children will be able to complete that with no problem. So if, again, you're traveling or you're having a hard day or you just need to take it easy on a campus day, as long as you hit these items, these priority items for that particular week, your child will be caught up. And at some point you will need to finish what is on the lesson plan, especially if they are those things that I will be grading. So on the progression folder, like I said, we have all the priority items, memory items, your math grade level for 3rd grade. You'll also have Latin, and this is everything we've already been covering in class, and they are just reviewing it for that week. So what I like to do is at the end of week, whatever week we're on, so let's say today is the end of week 4, I will have my son just go over the progression folder and be like, okay, let's just review what we did this week. So this is our Latin. Again, every week has a different concept, things that we've been working on for that particular week. One more thing that I'd like you to bring, for you to be familiar with, is that we have a spelling section, and it's towards the end. And the spelling section corresponds to the lists that we just finished. So here at the top it says week 4 and 5. So I recommend that you do this worksheet at the end of week 5. Since it says week 4 and 5, it's going to be better to do it at the end of week 5 so that you already know all the words, or your child knows all the words. Up here, they would just complete their phonogram. So you say the phonogram and they will write down each phonogram in each box. And then here it gives you instructions of how to complete the rest of the page. So these are spelling practices. So it goes by week, and that is how you would fill it out. We haven't had any of these assigned for week 1 through 3. So this would be the first activity that you would do for spelling at the end of week 5. So at the end of next week. And then towards the very end of Q1 progression binder is the reading log. So here's the reading log. I hope you have read the instructions of the reading challenge. Your children are excited. I already have 2 or 3 children that have already been stamped, or not, they have not been stamped, but their bookmarks have been stamped. They're excited. They've already received their house points. So fill it out as it shows you here. It's very straightforward. The date, I want them reading every single day. Up here it explains that we want them to be reading out loud. We just started Farmer Boy. They are reading well. What I have noticed though is that when children don't read out loud to their parents, they're not being corrected in how to properly read a sentence, a paragraph, expression, stop at punctuation. So I highly recommend that you spend at least 10 to 15 minutes listening to your child read. They need to read to you so that you can catch on those bad habits, because at times they are bad habits, not that they don't know how to read with fluency, with cadence. It's just those bad habits, run-on sentences, they don't stop at punctuation. So please spend at least 10 to 15 minutes listening to them read. And we have recommended that you could do this read aloud time from textbooks. Textbooks, those words are a little bit more difficult, but your children can do it. They do it at school. And even though you're going to be correcting them and helping them sound out some of those words, that's okay. But I do want you to be listening to how they're reading so that we can correct those bad habits of not stopping at punctuation, reading really, really fast, and not slowing down and not reading with expression. So when they read to you, that's a great way for them to practice how to read properly, smoothly, with proper cadence, with great fluency. And then, of course, they have to read on their own their book of choice for the reading challenge. So for the reading challenge, this is where they have to fill out the log. The read aloud time that they do to you, if they read a textbook, I don't want to see the textbook here. I want them to read their own book for the book challenge. Okay, so make sure that you write down the book title, how long they read, what's the genre of the book, and then once they finish that particular book, we will give them the house point and we will stamp that bookmark. The children are very excited about the challenge. Anything that we can do to get them motivated, we will, because reading is so important. And right now in third grade, we have strong readers. They're still developing readers. We don't need to work so much on decoding and sounding out. Now we are establishing good reading habits. And so it's very important for us to partner together and have the same expectation from reading, and that way we can see those results, and then they're on their great way into fourth grade. All right, so those are the last 2 pages of the Q1 quarter 1 progression folder. So Q1 progression folder is that thick, and then you will see that we start with Q2. Now, what I have done for my son's progression folder, and this is not a requirement, this is just how you like to organize the things for your children. I have put in some tabs. The tabs that I have pasted on are tabs that at school we will be using frequently, so that will be our timeline pegs. I have tabbed the timeline pegs right here. That way, when I tell the students, okay, let's open up to our timeline pegs, there's that tab. It'll be very easy for them to flip over to. I have also tabbed the poem section, because we practice this in class a lot. So at the beginning we read it, but towards the end, like right now, they've already memorized it. It's amazing how fast, how quickly they memorize the poem. We're having so much fun with it. So I've tabbed this page as well, just so that it's easy access. I have also tabbed, let me move it over. Oh, that was our poem. The one that I just showed you was not the poem. The one I just showed you was the Geography New England, the song, the state song by region. We use that song a lot, so I tabbed that. And then I've tabbed the poem. And then lastly, I tabbed in the reading log. Now, you can go and tab every single item. It all depends how you like to organize things. I do recommend that you tab at least a few so that your child is able to turn to those specific items in school, and that way transition time at school is really quickly. So if we can expedite those transition times and have them be more smooth, I would love it if you do put those tabs for those specific items: timeline pegs, poem, and the reading log. We will be looking at the reading log very frequently, so that would be a huge help for me and for our classroom time. So progression folders, that is it for progression folders. I will be checking progression folders regularly. So please, at the end of each week, look at your progression folder to see what items need to be completed. In the math section, there are sections for them to complete. In the grammar section, there are some questions that they need to complete. And everything else for Q1 is pretty much just memorization. So please be on the lookout for those specific weekly items. There is a tab on ClassReach where you do receive a grade for progression folders, and I believe it's for the math section. So please make sure that those things get completed. So when I look through them, I will either stamp or initial, and you will see something there on their grade book. So that is it for progression folders. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your flexibility. I know that this transition from so many different things, from the books, different books being back ordered and our orders being misprinted, has caused a lot of confusion, but you have been so gracious. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. But now that we've got these, let's use them. And any work that you have done prior to week 5, I have checked most of them in the homework folder. If I didn't get a chance to, don't worry. We're going to start fresh. All right, we're going to start fresh from week 5 forward. All right, because I don't want anybody to feel stressed out if you didn't complete anything in the one that we printed out. So just so that for simplicity's sake, let's start at week 5. Let's start fresh. And going forward, this is the only progression folder I should see in your child's backpack. and the homework folder without the printed sheets in there. Only the homework folder that we can go and send things back and forth. All right, so that is all for progression folders. I hope that clarified a few things. I hope that gave you a little bit more information. Please reach out to me if you have any other concerns or questions that did arise from this video, and I will make sure to, we will make sure to send you a quick message and clarify any other things. Thank you so much, parents. Looking forward to see what this year has in store for us. Your children are wonderful and they have adapted so well. We've been having so much fun. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later.